Hello and welcome to another how-to video. My name is Tytech, CTO at DVS, and today we're going to take a look at a combined solution using the Acusense camera from Hikvision. So that's the active defense camera with the flashing light and the automated sound that can be played upon VCA or motion activation. So that's a really popular camera, but how can we improve and use it in a real life application? So linked with an I Series NVR that we have here, we have the one key disarm function. So a key switch, which we've got here in form of a twisted cable, wires into input 1 on the NVR. One key disarm function is enabled, and that allows us to turn off the flashing sound and light on the camera, as well as send emails, app notifications, etc., audible noise on the actual NVR. So if you're using this with a remote monitoring station, an ARC for instance, then the one key disarm function, when you enter the site, you disable it, either link this to your intruder alarm, so when the intruder alarm is disarmed, it will stop all the notifications going through to your monitoring station and the app, or you can use a remote key fob, turn up the site, press the key fob using like a Luminite receiver, then triggers the alarm output link from the remote receiver into this and disarms the NVR. Or you could have it linked to a physical key switch on a door or a gate, for instance. Again, able to arm and disarm the NVR via the one key disarm function. It's been around for really many years, but it's really undersold. So I don't know whether you can see that, but if I just pull you a little bit closer, sorry. So under the menu, GUI 4 menu, system, event, normal event, alarm input, and you can see there, alarm input 1, I can enable one key disarming function there, and then I can choose by ticking the appropriate box as to which function is disabled. So full screen monitoring, trigger alarm output, audio alerts, send emails, audible warning, which is the NVR, notify surveillance center, software and app, and then audible and light linkage, which is the Acusense camera. So once we've enabled input 1 as the alarm key switch, so just close that down, go back to the main view and take you back. So this key switch is currently in the disarmed position. So when it's disarmed, all of the functions will not work. So the light and sound from this Acusense camera here will not work. So there's a line crossing set around here on the virtual screen. So if I walk across it, you can see no notifications or no reaction. Simply arm the NVR by untwisting my pair, but realistically that's going to be a key switch, your intruder alarm, your key fob, etc. So we're going to arm the system now, and there's no timer for this. As soon as I actually untwist that pair, the arming function begins. Now if I walk across the virtual trip line,
attention please, the area is attention please, the area is under surveillance.
There we go. So that's the actual arm, so you get the light and audible warning, plus all of the notifications you can hear coming through on the Android station that's linked to the Hike Connect functionality. So I'm now getting emails, I'm now getting app notifications, and I'm now getting the sound and light trigger. So one key disarming, standard function on our DVRs, NVRs. The one key disarming's been around for a long time now. So the same principle applies for the Turbo X products. So if you're using a Turbo DVR with Turbo X cameras, the one key disarm function applies to Turbo as well. So again, once I arm the disarm the system effectively, so key switch is disarmed by twisting it. Now when I trigger the camera, nothing goes through, so the action is now stopped. So when the system is disarmed, you don't get those nuisance alarms during the day, and then ARC won't be notified of all the activity, even though the VCA is technically still active. Okay, so it's now disarmed. What we can do then is take this one step further. So using my app, so I got lots of notifications coming through to my app. So here's the Acusense camera here. If I open up Hike Connect app on my phone, so it's a nice simple function, and then bring this camera up full screen. Just bear with me while I navigate to the NVR. So we're going through the principle of an NVR. So let's just get the camera 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Always takes ages, doesn't it, when you're waiting for something to open. Open up the phone. Okay, so we have the camera on my phone now. So if I just choose that HD stream, it is an 8 megapixel camera. Oh, sorry, that's the 4 meg one, but there is an 8 meg one available. So that's the camera I'm in front of now. Look, you can see there's my hand. So on the HiConnect app, we can actually initiate two-way audio from this app. So I'm going to select two-way audio and select it to the camera. Hello. Please leave the site. So I can turn the volume down on that. Hello. 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 I can hear you. And then stop the audio. So you've got two-way audio from the HiConnect app directly to this camera. So if you see an offender or an activity that you need to use, you need to use the app to show that you're actually listening and hopefully ward them away. Two-way audio, you can not only hear the person or the activity, they can hear you in live audio. So you've got the ability to use live audio to this camera. So that's a really, really nice bit of thing. Okay, on the app itself, there's also an arm disarm function. So you can see there on the app itself, there's a little alarm bell symbol. When that's active like it is now, notifications will come through to the phone if this is disarmed. If this is armed, notifications will come through. If it's disarmed, notifications stop coming through. So if you're using a one key disarm, it's rare that you're going to use the arm disarm function from the phone and the NVR on alarm input one at the same time. But technically, if you're using this in a customer's premises without the one key disarm function, or if it's in a domestic with the turbo or with this NVR, you can use that one key disarm function on the app, and that will stop the light and sound trigger also. So the app has the ability to turn this alarm function on and off and receive notifications so directly from the app. So that's a really powerful function. Or the one key disarm function takes it another step further. This is more of a real world live application. So what else can we do with it? Well, interestingly, Immix. So Immix is the most widely adopted CCTV monitoring platform that, for CCTV anyway in the UK, and it's, past the UK, lots of people use it in America, etc. It's not just limited to the UK, even though they are just down the road from us. Here, we're in Cardiff, they got an office in Swansea. But Immix can talk to this device directly as well. So if you add this back-end device, so using the I Series NVR, because that's where the linkage is from the audio to be passed through to the camera. So using the I Series NVR, and I'll give you a quick demonstration of this in a minute. The I Series NVR is added to the Immix platform, and the operator at Immix can actually talk to this camera audio output directly. So it's a really, really nice functionality. Now, you could argue the speaker is not very loud in that turret camera. Yes, it isn't very loud. It's loud enough if it's in the middle of the night and there's not a lot of activity around, you will definitely hear that audio from that turret camera. But again, the bullet camera version of the Acusense has a louder speaker and therefore is more effective if you want that two-way audio communication. But again, a really powerful, basic standard firmware. There's no custom firmware or special integrations needed for this added function. So I'm going to transfer you over and show you the Immix and talking to this camera output directly, just to give it that extra powerful function, so it may help you with your system design. So I'll just transfer you over and show you the Immix interface, so stay tuned. Okay, so just before we move on, there is a new firmware as well. So if you browse to the UK portal, you can see there is this new firmware which we would recommend, or always recommend, to keep up to date. You can see the release notes here. This covers the G2 Acusense cameras and the G2 ColorView cameras. And for those of you that wanted to know when the firmware that was available for the ColorView that would link the motion to the flashing light or the VCA, this is the firmware. So if you update this ColorView G2 cameras with this firmware, then you're actually able to link the events, so smart event or motion, to the brightness of the LED that's built in. So it gives you that almost like Acusense visual deterrence ability within a ColorView. So this firmware is now officially released. So there, go and update it, and you do have that function. So I can show you there. Here's all the ColorView events that are linked, and then you can actually link the LED light and for how long, etc. under the event. So a fantastic result for all of you that wanted to know. That firmware is now released on the portal, so go play. Another good function with this firmware, if I just show you, log into the camera again. On this latest firmware, they've added a function And the same with the color view because it's the same firmware. If you look under network and advanced and platform access, there's now a function for external linkage via HiConnect. So if HiConnect was enabled on this camera, just type it in. If I enable this external linkage via HiPro Connect, that enables the camera actions to be set up between other devices. So within the HiPro Connect, for those of you that use HiPro Connect, and if you don't use it, you should definitely go check it out. You can actually use the events in here to use linkages on other devices. So the HiPro Connect is the middle platform, and it's a cause and effect table effectively between devices that aren't necessarily linked together in the same system. So it's fantastic. We've added that functionality in the color view and second generation Acusense as well. So go check it out. Now, back to Immix. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Immix, this is their dashboard. It's a cloud-based system. Like I said, most central stations will run Immix for video monitoring. You know, Sentinel is another platform, but you know, we do a lot of testing in-house with our products with Immix. And this is, you know, I haven't actually tested it with Sentinel, but Immix is widely used and therefore, you know, should be fine. If I give you a quick demonstration, so if I go into the alarm section and I'm going to do a site check. So there's no present alarms currently, but I want to do a site check to manually start the audio. So click site check, start my site, DVS HQ, yep, loading up the site. Now, if I select camera 1 will load by default. If I select camera 7, which is the second generation Acusense camera, so that's the camera there. So if you see, I'll stand in front of it just to show you. So that is live, so I'm not doing anything, you know, to make this look like it does work when it doesn't. Under audio, I can actually start camera 7 two-way audio. Yeah, so I can listen to enable the audio. Hello? 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 So that's the built-in audio from the camera, and I can also do the talk down to site. So if I press and hold that, hello? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? And release. So it's press to talk, like this. Hello? 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 Please leave the site. And then it goes back to the microphone. So that's Immix talking via the NVR directly to the speaker output of that camera. And again, that's how powerful this starts to become as an integrated system, is when you start combining all this and making it a really nice integrated system. I've only tested it with the second generation Acusense products. I haven't tested it with the first generation Acusense. I can test it. I don't see why it wouldn't work. And again, speak to your monitoring station if you use Immix to make sure they're happy to use that as a process before you design it in. Other than that, I hope that made sense. And if you do run an operating monitoring station, you know, that's definitely something you can be looking at as well to offer the customer base. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. See you next week for another how-to video. Thanks, everyone.